Hey guys, this is Attorney Walter. Now we're just going ahead and fixing the show because we did have an issue with starting up. Unfortunately, the blue microphone, the Blue Yeti Pro, is not working at the moment. So I'm just going through and toggling things to kind of get things back to where they should be. Give me one moment as I do this, then we should be good to go. Hold on. Okay, excellent. And good. All right, so now we should be able to get people joining. I'm going to erase the old track that we had there. That way we're all good to go there, and then we will begin. Now, with that said, unfortunately, let's see. I've got the live right there. I'm going to delete this one real quick, and then we should be good to go. Wonderful. All right. Now, my audio is not going to sound as good right now. Howdy, Gardner. Let's see. Howdy. Okay, perfect. So my audio is not going to sound as good as it should right now because I am going through the little microphone on the Logitech. My Blue Yeti Pro does not seem to be working, so I'll have to figure that out a little bit later as to what's going on with that. With that said, yes, Gardner, go ahead. Perfect. Excellent. I'm going to be going through specifically with you guys the SSI Restoration Act math, and I'm going to be comparing it against some of the costs associated with doing it. And some of this math will really anger you because you'll see how absolutely ridiculously cheap it is to fund SSI people significantly more. And once you realize that, you'll start to see that the reasons for the SSI lacking an increase is not so much the money part, it is more the ethical / the expectation of what people will have. Will they want to work? Will they want to do this if they receive more money? So I want to go through this real quick. Basically, how it works, what you need to know, and let's go through it. The SSI Restoration Act. The whole idea is to get people to the 100% poverty line for SSI. That equates to $1,073.33 over and over and over, right? Repeating. But the bottom line is this. Let me see what Gardner put down. Medical facility denied me service because I cannot fill out paperwork because I am blind. Yeah, that's an ADA right there. You could have an ADA claim. They have a right to cure, meaning they have a right to fix it. But bottom line is, yeah, you would have a lawsuit against that medical facility. All right, so let's talk about this. SSI Restoration Act, we all know what it is. They want to bump everybody on SSI up from whatever they're getting, get rid of the in-kind support maintenance rule so everybody's getting the same amount, and they want to bump it up for basically the $586, which is the average monthly for SSI people, beyond the $794, which is the max right now, all the way to $1,073, which, just so you know what that equates to, I'm going to actually get rid of this microphone real quick. Just so you know what that equates to is basically $12,880 a year. So they want to take the average of what SSI people get out of $7,032 a year, which is mind-boggling. Like, how could anybody afford to live on that? It just makes no sense whatsoever. How do you do an ADA lawsuit? Gordon, I'll answer that one after I do this because that's actually a longer one. So here's kind of the bottom line. They want to take everybody from 50% poverty line on SSI, 54%, and they then want to bump them up to not 74%, but 100% the poverty line. Now, I did the math. I did the math for how much it's going to cost this nation. And I also did the math for 115%, and I also did the math for 130% above the poverty line. So I actually created categories for these. That way we could understand what's the low, what's the medium, what's the high, and things like that. And I called them this. The current average, right, for SSI people, 2021, is $586 per month. That's the 54% poverty line. The current maximum that somebody can get on SSI is $794 per month, which equates to basically the 74% line on the 100% poverty line. So being at poverty, like the baseline, well, you're only at 74% of that, right? If you're receiving the maximum amount of benefits, which is just mind-boggling. It doesn't make any sense at all. And Shadow just may have ruined the screen there. That's okay. All right, so with that said, if we go to the next one, right? So we did 54%. That's the average what people get on SSI. Then we go to the current maximum, what people can get on SSI. That's 74% of the poverty line. Then we get to the SSI Restoration Act. The SSI Restoration Act equates to 100%, again, 100% of the poverty line. That equates to $1,073 per month and $12,880 per year. Still doesn't make sense on how somebody could live on that per year, but it is what it is, whatever it is, yada, yada, yada. Okay. So let's keep rolling with this thing. There's another thing that you need to know about this. There are potentials for even more amounts to be done, right? So, let's think about this for a moment. What at the end of the day would be a livable wage, right? Maybe it's around $1,200 a month. Maybe it's around $1,400 a month. Realistically, as we do this analysis, we have to start to question how this whole thing works and what this whole thing means. Unfortunately, Congress does not want to fund significantly more SSI people. However, as we've gone through in other videos, they would be wise to advertise that because that would get them 8 million votes in their pocket for SSI people. Let's look at the math. If we raise it to 115% of the poverty line, 115% of the poverty line, then that means it will cost, right, the U.S. government per person $14,812 per year. That's not much. If we raise it to $12,000, that will get you basically $1,234 per month. Not bad, not bad. If we raise it to 130% the poverty line, that gets it to $16,744 per month or per year, and $1,395 per month. So what's happening here is this. When we look at the base numbers, we see that, yeah, it seems like there's an increase, right? The very basic one, the current average is 54%, right? And if we look at that, that's $586 per month for the current average for SSI. If we go to 130% the poverty line, right, then we're looking at $1,400 per month for a person on SSI. So here's the crazy thing. When you start to do the math as to current averages, when you start to do the math on, essentially how this thing works, what's going on with it, what are the basics for it, all that stuff. When you start to really look at this, you realize there's a financial problem here, and it's not the money. I thought I used to be one of those people who was like, where are we going to find the money for all these people? We can't afford this. How are we ever going to afford this? There's no way to afford this, right? I was wrong. I was very wrong. And I admit that now, and I want you to understand why I was very wrong. I did the math, and what I kind of realized throughout the process of it was that, okay, we have a situation here. The math behind getting more SSI benefits is not much in comparison. It's not much. On the current average of what it costs Congress to fund us, which is not a proper way to say it, because Congress doesn't fund us. We fund us. We set the rules. We are the definers of who gets in to change the rules. We are in charge. Congress, it costs around $56 billion. Then we add on the administrative cost to run it. So around almost $59 billion to run SSI per year at the current levels. Okay, all right. Hey, that's not the end of the world. 59 billion. Hey, that's, when you make 22 trillion. Well, wait a minute, think about that. If you make 22 trillion a year, that means you have 21.94 trillion left at the end of the year. And what I'm saying here is this: SSI costs our government this much. Can you see it? Can you see it right there? It's right there. Can you see it? That's how much it costs our government to do SSI. Same deal, very similar deal. It's a little bit more for SSDI, but not much more. So what's mind-boggling is that if it only costs our government essentially, 59 billion to go ahead and run SSI, then what's the problem with just doubling that? Right? Well, what's the issue with doubling? You double that, and you essentially get to the SSI Restoration Act. What it equates to then is basically that you're spending $105 billion, and the government still has left over at the end of the day $21.89 trillion to play with. Once again, that increase goes from this to that. That's what the increase equates to. They have so much money still available to them that it doesn't make sense. You could literally, through the United States government and the amount of taxes that they receive, pay people on SSI $5,000 a month. And it would still, math-wise, be totally fine. And I know a lot of people will go, oh, that's extreme socialism. Oh, my goodness. It's actually not. And here's why. If this was a situation where we looked at a pie chart And we were like, oh, well, the SSI is really taking a chunk out. Oh, man, that's, hey, that's a big deal. It's not. I'm not even certain. I'm actually very certain, but, my eyes are wary because I work all day. I am certain that if you had a pie chart and you put SSI in that pie chart, you would barely, and I mean barely, be able to see the tiniest, slightest of cost on that pie chart. That's because there's a lot of billions in 1 trillion. And that's because we make $22 trillion a year. So I want you to think for a moment. Just take a moment. Okay? SSI people, if it costs at the current rate of what the average is that people get per month, $586 a month, if it costs 59-ish billion, and the SSI Restoration Act costs around 105 billion at 115%, meaning somebody gets, $1,234 a month, it would only cost around 120 billion. At 130%, the poverty line, you get around $1,400 a month. It would only cost 162 billion. Every single time I ran the math, it turns out that you can still barely see on that pie graph the slightest amount of SSI cost to the nation. So if we did just the SSI Restoration Act, right? If we did the bare minimum of bringing the SSI program back to a restored point, it would cost the United States in total around $105.55 billion. So let's just say $106 billion. That way we're covered. $106 billion, okay? Let's go through some of the basics then. Washington Post, right? Remember that right there. $106 billion, that's your SSI program, okay? Washington Post, Nick Muroff, April 8th, 2021, 3:36 p.m. Biden administration spending $60 million per week to shelter unaccompanied minors. $60 million per week. At that rate, it is challenging the base fundamentals of SSI in cost. And that's just the minors and just to shelter them. More recent article, CBS News. Biden administration asks Congress for billions as cost for Afghan refugees, natural disasters pile up. Now look, nobody's dumb enough to go ahead and sit back and say Afghanistan happened in a way that they didn't foresee. The finest of the finest generals on earth partook in essentially what happened there. For them to say, oh, we didn't think it was going to, hey, no, they knew exactly what was going to happen. They were in control of the complete country for the most part, other than a few spots. They knew exactly what was going to happen. Biden administration on Tuesday called on Congress, this is CBS News, to pass tens of billions of dollars in funding to keep the federal government running as lawmakers work to pass its annual budget legislation. Government funding runs out at the end as part of the temporary, let me just keep reading this. As part of the temporary funding measure known as a so-called continuing resolution, the administration is also requesting additional money to address what the administration officials called urgent needs, the response to natural disasters, as well as the relocation of thousands of Afghan allies after the Taliban took over the country, as the U.S. withdrew last month. The administration is seeking $6.4 billion for sites to process Afghan allies overseas and in the U.S. Now, that'll probably balloon to $10 billion, because that's how this stuff always goes, okay? It always goes in that direction. But if the Afghan individuals, right, if the relocation of the Afghan refugees costs, let's say, $10 billion, right, because it'll balloon by the time we get through the basic processing of the whole thing, right? Let's say it costs $10 billion. That means that $10 billion should be compared, right? Afghan refugees, $10 billion, to the $106 billion the entire for the year program of SSI costs. 10 billion Afghan refugees, $106 and $6 billion at the SSI Restoration Act level, like where everybody's getting $1,073 per month, $106 billion for the SSI Restoration Act. I'll make it even worse. 10 billion Afghan refugees, right here. That's how much it's going to cost, right? We don't have the numbers yet, but I'm sure it'll be even higher than that. But they're saying they want 6.4 billion. That's on top of what they've already spent. But let's just say 10 billion to be safe. Now compare that against 59 billion at the current rate of essentially the SSI program. 10 billion Afghan refugees, 60 billion the entire year of supplemental security income. That means the Afghan refugees would cost essentially 1/6 of the entire, with administrative people working, with the program, with the administration working it, it'd be 1/6 the entire supplemental security income Restoration Act. Do you guys see, you know what I mean? Do you see why it doesn't work anymore? Why it's just not fair? We have our Americans here suffering who are also severely medically disabled, which just boggles my mind. And the entire program costs $60 billion. If you multiplied that by 374 times, right? That's how many times you'd have to multiply $60 billion to get to $2.2 trillion. So just to put that in perspective again, the entire Afghan, right, immigration system, $10 billion to immigrate the Afghans, the entire SSI program for the year, $60 billion. 10 billion, 60 billion. I mean, that's why the math just blows my mind. You know? All right, next thing I want to go through over here. I want to compare essentially these figures to something else that will kind of surprise you and shock you. Let's go. And remember, these are rough cut numbers. They're just generalized rough cut numbers. So, they're not perfect. They're not, Steve Goss, chief actuary of the SSA, perfect. They're not meant to be. They're just rough cut numbers. The United States, August 2nd, 2021, Budget Basics National Defense by PGPF.org. The United States spent $725 billion on national defense during the fiscal year of 2020. Afghan refugees, $10 billion. SSI, current costs, what they spend right now, $60 billion. Military, $725 billion. Just let that sink in. Just let that sink in for a moment. Okay? As you can see, we have basically a problem. And that is that we do not prioritize the American people. And when you don't prioritize the American people, you end up with people getting $586 per month as part of SSI. So I don't believe the SSI Restoration Act is enough anymore. I've spent a lot of time looking at the numbers now. I've gone through everything, and this is what really aggravates me about the system. Okay? If we look at the figures, the SSI Restoration Act is supposed to restore SSI mathematically to what potentially it should be based upon the promises made by Nixon in 1972 when it was passed. I don't think it's good enough. I thought it was good enough. No, I don't think it's good enough. The more I look at the math, I realize that SSI people should be getting $1,500 a month. And here's the problem. We now know it's not the math. So let's say the current average is $586 a month. The current max is $794 a month. The SSI Restoration Act is $1,073 a month. Let's create a new act. 115% the poverty line. The SSI Ethical Act, that gets you $1,234 a month. The SSI Witness Act, let's create that act, right? That gets you $1,395 a month. I think you could push this to almost 135 to 140 to 145% the poverty rate. And here's the amazing thing about it. UBI is a cool idea, right? It's a cool idea. But above and beyond UBI, we have to be able to take care of our disabled who cannot work, which are essentially SSI or SSDI people. We got to take care of them. That's why I believe SSI is not a traditional welfare program. A traditional welfare program does not require such a heavy burden of being severely disabled, that which puts you in a position where you cannot work. If you cannot work, you cannot earn it. If you cannot earn, you cannot live a lifestyle in America. We no longer live in the farmland lifestyle where your family will take care of you for generation and generation while you live out your days on the farm. We don't live in that anymore. A lot of the land has been chopped up. A lot of the land has been purchased by mega trillionaires. Microsoft, founder is one of them. A lot of individuals that have billions and billions of dollars have all bought up a lot of the land in the U.S. for farming. So what we're looking at here is a problem. Not only could Congress easily afford the SSI Restoration Act, but they haven't done enough. It should be significantly higher. It should be 135, 140% the poverty rate. I can just hear their arguments now, right? The arguments that they would come forward with. They would come forward with the following arguments. Oh, but then people won't work. They'll just become disabled, and then, they'll never work. Yeah, but see, here's the problem with that. In order to get on SSI, it's the same medical standard requirement as SSDI. You have to meet the 5 elements of disability. Element 1, you can't be earning more than $1,310. Element 2, you can't have, you've got to have a disability that's lasted 12 months, will last 12 months, or be terminal. Element 3, you have to be as bad, worse than, or equivalent to a predefined list of disabilities. And if you're not, they do an RFC analysis, residual functional capacity, and they look at element 4. Element 4, can you do your past work? Element 5, can you do relevant transferable skilled work or unskilled work? If you can't do that work, you're found disabled. That's called vocational allowance. So my point here is this. As I continue to study the SSI Restoration Act, I would like to be the person for you guys who, and this is very important, helps build an even better act. But I need you to understand something right now. I need you to understand something very clearly. I will not and I cannot be the person who passes it. I cannot and I will not be the person who is what you need to make it get through committees, through the Senate, through the House, to the White House. I cannot be that person. Here's why. Number 1, I'm not 8 million votes. That is the most important thing that you need to learn when you watch, B2B, LA Late, Blind and Billionaire, LA Late, all those channels. They promise you the advocacy and the writing letters to these politicians, and that's total BS because that's not going to change anything. I can show some of you guys that want to start a group how to literally come together and create a platform where SSI people can go ahead and talk, can get together, kind of like spaceconstitution.com, and figure out what you want this program to have, and then vote based on what you want to happen. I can help you with that, and I'm willing to, because I work with the homeless every day, and there's no reason why the homeless should be living at the very low level that they are once they've proven that they're severely impaired and can't work. A lot of people look at the homeless and go, oh, that bum, this, that, yada, yada, yada. But there's a problem with that, which is that a lot of them can't work. So my point here is this. At the end of the day, I will help you guys create a platform. I will not be the one who leads it. I will not be the one that checks on it and updates it because I have a job, and it's called disabilityresolution.com, where I do law firm work only for those who are seeking disability benefits. We get a lot of people who call through the week who are constantly trying to essentially get me to answer questions. Please, if you have questions and you're already receiving benefits, 8 to 10 p.m. every Thursday, this is the time for that kind of stuff. Now, with that said, I will help you build a platform, a website system, a forum, a blog, a setup, and all that stuff, even a voting system within that system. I'll help you build it. I'm willing to do that to help you guys. But you guys need to figure out who is going to lead it because I refuse to. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough, I go to bed at 2 to 3 a.m. at this point. And let me tell you why. That's because the law firm, when COVID hit, did this, and now it's doing this. And I don't have all the employees I used to have, so now I'm doing a lot of the functions of the employees, and then in the middle of the night I write the briefs, and then I have the hearings. Blah, blah, blah. I will not lead it. It is not my job to lead it because I'm not on SSI. It is your job to find somebody among your group who is willing to lead a union, a group, a alliance, whatever you want to call it. 8 million people on SSI. 8 million people on SSI. Go find leaders. I will build the platform for you guys to create your future with, put your votes to where you want them to be. I'll help you with that, but I will not lead it. It's not my gig. Okay. Next thing. I want you to understand this. I have a video coming out, which are the top 15 reasons, basically, why you'll likely see a fourth stimulus before essentially December holidays. We are seeing Biden pulling away from the 3.5 trillion. What's happening is this. The government has spent money in all the wrong ways. If we were to give them a grade on how they basically dispersed funds, we would fail them. If the government was run like a company was, it would have gone out of business immediately. I want you to understand something. We have to fix the following items before we have a good system. Number one, the voting system. The voting system should require that there is a civil group of people, non-government people, who oversees the entire thing, who works in conjunction with the government to put it on. Number two, the company that creates the system cannot be in charge of validating or changing votes that are at issue or an error sequence when they are submitted. Number three, the government must have for all communications and all activities of it an open policy. We must be able to see every single thing that happens. Number three, the system must be based on blockchain technology and allow for all types of people in America to be able to vote using this blockchain technology, whether they have a cell phone that can do it or they don't, whether they want to opt in to show who they voted for or not. Number three, number five, we must create a court system like the, FISA court. We must create a court system that is specifically set up with judges to review the information that comes from these botched elections. Go look at New York. They have hundreds of thousands of votes that they had to throw out. If we do these things, 5 things, I could do more, but if we do these 5 things, we will have a trustworthy election. Those judges, we must put in a lot of very unique, very strict rules to make sure that we continuously get a just and fair adjudication. So my point is this. If we can do these things, we can make this country better for people on SSI. We can make this country better for people on SSDI. SSI people, you got 8 million people. SSDI people, you got a little bit more than 8 million people. Retirement people, I forget what it was. It was maybe 60 million. I don't remember what the number was, but it's a lot of people. You have the capacity to change at the county level, all votes. You have the capacity to change at the state level, all votes. You have the capacity to change at the federal level, all votes, including the presidency of the United States. Now you got a problem, and I'm not going to shy away from it. I'm not going to BS you on this one. A lot of you guys don't come to my channel to feel good. You come to my channel to basically soak up reality. And I know that. I know that because I see the comments. I see a lot of people coming to me to go ahead and correct or validate essentially what they see on Blind to Billionaire or, LA Late and those types. I get it. And I just want to thank you guys for watching because this gives me a channel to get my frustration out about what I'm seeing that's going on. And then it also gives us a channel to go ahead and answer calls for people who have direct questions about what should happen with this program. So in that regard, I'm really happy with that as well. It is important to me to tell you guys this. Every single election that takes place in America could be changed just by the SSI people. It's true. So long as we have a valid coding system. I'm somebody who codes. I built the website for this one, which I need to update. Built the website for this one, which a lot of people think is great. I built the websites for a lot of things. In fact, I'm going to be doing a whole video editing thing in the near future for my parents' house. And they've promised me that if they sell it, they're going to help me pay off my mortgage. So we'll be doing that as well. And I'll need your support with that to help spread that stuff, those videos that come out. We're going to be doing a cool video about how to build the best bunker in case there's a land invasion. And we're going to be using that property as basically like a Discovery Channel type of show to show how to make the best property you can in case there's a problem. Another video about it will be if there's a COVID emergency with a new event, a new strain, a new variant, how to go ahead and protect yourself doing things around the house. And we'll use that house as the subject of it. All right, guys, so here's kind of the bottom line. I want to go forward and answer some phone calls now. I'm not going to be doing this all the way to 10 because I have to do a couple of things tonight, including go to the mail, process 3 or 4, I'm not sure how many over here, new initial filings that I need to look through, and then go to USPS and mail them. So bottom line is we're not going to go all the way to 10. With that said, take it easy on me a little bit tonight with questions. I'm super tired, a little bit slowed down, kind of worn out, but let's get to it. I'm now going to go ahead and grab the phone. Got it right here. I don't know how this is going to work super duper well because we're using a different microphone than we usually do. Okay, so Garden, what was your question again? Help me out. I think it was about the ADA or something. It was a lawsuit. Here, hold on. Let me see if I can find you like a good URL. All right, so here we go. First things. Yeah, okay, I remember. It was a medical facility that rejected you for your availability to go ahead because you couldn't fill out the forms to give you treatment. All right, first off, you got to file an ADA violation form. That can be found there. Next thing you're going to do, or get an attorney first to help you sculpt it. You can file a civil complaint, and basically that civil complaint, and keep in mind that might be a Health and Human Services complaint as well, because if they violated your rights when it comes to paperwork, that might be a Health and Human Services kind of gig. HHS is what we all call it. But you want to go ahead and basically get an attorney, a civil attorney that's knowledgeable of the ADA. I don't do those. I just do disability, SSI, SSDI. And you want to essentially go over and remember all the parties available. That might be essentially the medical staff that was there. That might be an administrative group that's there that's hired by the the hospital to just do administrative stuff, but as a separate company. That might be the person that's there who essentially is a guard who pulled the paperwork away from you. That might be any one of those. So you have to remember to include as many parties as you can throughout the process for your suit with the ADA. Okay. Hey, Jason Gilbert. Hey, Walter, is SSI welfare or not? Do you pay for it when you work? So basically, you pay through your general taxes. But welfare, and let's pull up the actual definition of welfare. Okay, definition. So let's go to Black's Law Dictionary. Black's Law Dictionary. Let's see. Okay, let's see if we can actually. Let's see. I don't know dictionary fee online. Okay, let's see if we can do this. Let's see if we can get this thing up. I think they have a free one online now, but let me see if I can. No, it isn't. Hold on. Okay, here we go. I might be able to get this right here. Let me see if I can pull this up. Okay. What is welfare? Resources and conditions needed for healthy and comfortable living. Government support for members of society who are disadvantaged. Well, if that's true, right, with that general open, definition, then anything would be welfare that they give you. Anything. SSDI benefits would be welfare. Retirement benefits would be welfare. I don't view welfare as that. I view welfare as something that's given to you that does not require, essentially a lack of ability to work as an element. So, for example, if you could go work, but you come from a disadvantaged family and you just, chose not to get educated because of the circumstances you were in and it made it tough for you, and then you chose not to go forward with a path in that general direction because you couldn't, because it was too hard, whatever, that's welfare. You could still work, you could still do, a heavy equipment job, working, that kind of stuff where it doesn't require much skill, SVP 1 and 2 jobs, specific vocational preparations, but you could still work. SSI, SSDI, you can't work a full-time job. And that to me is not welfare, because when a country says, we are going to take care of you if you can't work a full-time job, that to me is not welfare. That is too great of an element to be considered part of welfare. Let me give you another example. Let's say you have a giant system of elements, and the big one is you have to be severely impaired, right? In order to be considered severely impaired, they look at your limited functioning with one impairment. They look at your limited functioning with multiple impairments. They look at your one impairment to see whether or not that meets a listing standard. That's how they look at it. That's how they break it up. I don't know if you guys know that, but when it comes to SSI and SSDI, this is how they break it up and look at it. Number one, do you essentially have a single impairment that meets, equals, or exceeds, that is like, similar to, or worse than a predefined list of disabilities? If you have one that's equivalent to or worse than one of these predefined disabilities, you're found disabled. That's element 3. If that doesn't work out for you, what they then do is they look at how your limitations from that impairment essentially make you unable to work. Right? So that's your element 4 and 5. Can you do your past work? Can you do other types of work? Always full-time review. Like, could you do a full-time job? So what that means is they look at a single impairment, they look at more than one impairment, and they say, okay, would this person be limited in their ability to go ahead and work? And that's why so many people under 50 years old are getting denied, because the grid outs don't help them. And that's because we're considering multiple impairments, and the grid out helps those over 50, whereas the grid out option doesn't exist for those. It does for 45 to 50, but it's useless in the sense of an adjudication. Okay, so Audrey Johnson, I'm on SSDI, I'm 63, I receive $1,219 monthly. When I turn 65, will my benefits go down because they turn you over to SSI? No, they're not going to turn you over to SSI. They're going to turn you over to likely retirement, because you likely have your full amount of retirement quarters of coverage. You've probably earned your 40 QCs, 40 quarters of coverage. John Brummett, as people that's on SSDI, we pay taxes in. I don't think it's welfare. We just got a little bit early. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely like, SSDI is a harder argument for the claim that it's welfare. You pay for it every year that you pay taxes. You're paying for that. Not only that, but your employer is paying it as much as you are paying it. Not only that, but the self-employed or people who own their own companies are paying double the rate, because they're paying themselves. They're paying for themselves and the company. But if they own the company, they're paying double the rate. Like me, who owns the law firm. Okay, so thank you guys. I really appreciate all those comments. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take 1 or 2 calls. Oh, there's somebody calling in right now. Hold on. Okay. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Knott. We are live right now. Remember to use a fake name. Would you like me to run hearing questions with you, or would you like me to go ahead and basically answer a specific question?
Hi, Walter. First off, thank you for your service.
Yeah, absolutely, good sir.
2 questions. Is there this question has to do with continuing disability reviews. How do I know or learn when the next continuing disability review will be?
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Okay. So the first thing that you need to know essentially about the CDR situation, the continuing disability review, is that the SSA almost always knows when your next CDR is going to be, because they've changed everything to it most likely being a year to 2 years to 3 years from essentially when you're found disabled. So what that means is GXY, thank you so much for the donation. I really appreciate it. I really do. So with CDRs, you can actually contact the SSA field office. And the way you do that is you go onto Google, or you're on your phone, on your computer, and you type into Google SSA FO search zip code. SSA FO search zip code. And what will happen is, at that point, it'll take you to a web page. And you'll then go ahead and enter in your zip code and hit search. And that will pop up with either the thing you need, or you'll get two options. Option number one will be, do you just need card services, or do you need something more? You will choose something more. And then basically a facility with an address and a phone number and a fax will pop up. You then go to that phone number, and you call them and you say, hey, this is my social, this is my name. When am I likely to have my next CDR? And at that point, they'll tell you. They won't always tell you if you're going to get a short form or a long form, but they will tell you when you're likely to get it. Now, remember, it's not always an exact date, because they're usually set up. And here's a big thing, and I want to put this out there. Most administrative law judges will put into, almost all of them now, they never used to have this 2 years ago, but almost all administrative law judges' decisions will now have a paragraph at the end, a tiny, tiny itty bitty one. It's just a sentence, really, that says, this person is expected to improve by such and such date, and a CDR is recommended, or it will say, please schedule a CDR in 24 months or 12 months or 36 months. They all put a provision in there specifying when the local FO should go forward and do a continuing disability review for that person. So knowing me, that when I get a decision in the mail that's favorable, knowing my clients that 99% of them will never read the thing, I always tell them the highlights, and that's one of the highlights. I tell them, look, over the next 3 years, over the next 2 years, over the next 12 months, they're going to do a CDR at this point, which means your butt better be in that doctor's chair. Your butt better be seeing that specialist over and over and over again, especially because they might make your CDR farther out for the next one. But you have to continuously show, you must continuously show that you are severely impaired and that your medical condition is continuously getting worse. Here are the 5 ways that you can show that your impairment is continuously getting worse. First, understand from the brief that the judge in the findings of fact area, in that brief that you get, the fully favorable, will specifically state what your severe impairments are. Those are, Julie Thomas, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you for the $10 donation. Again, I just want to say, GXY, thank you for the $20 donation. You guys are literally giving me the money that I used to buy my dog's treats. And they're asleep right now on the couch because I overfed them. So, indeed. But here's the 5 things you need to know. On that brief, in the findings of fact, it's like 3 or 4 paragraphs down, the judge will be, the severe impairments for this claimant are. And those are the impairments that basically lasted 12 months or more. That's element 2 impairments. And what happens with that is that those impairments are what you're going to write down on a piece of paper. And that is going to become your version of not a holy, but something almost at the level of holy, whatever would be below a religious thing for you. Essentially, those are the things that you have to show for the rest of your life, that you're becoming more and more severely impaired. And here's how you do that. You write them down on a piece of paper. That's step 1. You know what they are. Step 2, you figure out what medications you're taking for them. Okay? You want to switch out those medications every 6 months and try new medications to show that your medications are not curing you, are not making you stable so that you can work. You want new medications every 6 months. Number 3, and of course, do what your doctor says, but that's just a general thing. Number 3, you want to go ahead and write down the symptoms that you have, 2 symptoms per each, and then you want to go ahead and look up those impairments online and pick out even more symptoms that you're currently experiencing, and then put those symptoms in your own phrasing, diction, wording, and then tell your doctor those new symptoms that you're having to show continuously that you're getting worse. Number 4, you can go ahead and do a failed work attempt where you try to work, and then you can't work and you get fired after 3 months or 4 months, okay? And the bottom line there is that it shows the SSA that you tried to work, but you were unable to work. And that will use up a couple of months of your trial work period, which you get 9 months once you're found disabled. But it's a smart way of using them. And then number 5, very importantly, you have to consider what your benchmark is. You have to learn and understand what the judge found. I mean, maybe just ask your attorney, because it's going to be hard for you guys to read the brief and understand exactly what made the judge believe you. But ask your attorney. If you don't have an attorney, read through that brief 5 or 6 times so that you understand what was the turning point, what was the evidence that the judge gave the most weight to, that the judge liked the most to say that you were disabled. Maybe it was an RFC letter, maybe it was a letter, maybe it was an ambulatory device, maybe it was a statement from a doctor, maybe it was, a statement from a third-party group, maybe it was a vocational analysis of you. There was something in there that that judge liked. And you need to bolster that evidence and continue to get more evidence like that. And if you follow those 5 things that I've just made up right now, which I always do, there's no preparation to any of this. But if you follow those 5 things, you will successfully get through almost always a CDR situation.
Okay, Walter. My situation was that I didn't have to go to a hearing. The disability claim was approved. We did that here with what we had over the internet. Long story short, the claim was approved. Approximately 3 years later, I came up for a CDR. I was treating with a chiropractor.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
With the idea the chiropractor was going to get me back to work. I fell into that, and what I learned from that was that that wasn't acceptable treatment for Social Security through the chiropractor. Long story short, the CDR came up. They denied further disability because of lack of treatment. Went to my family doctor. The family doctor said, "Hey, man, stay away from chiropractors. Don't want to offend anybody. But, George, I'm going to help you fill out an RFC form." After denied 3 months later, which would have been 2013, we find that you're still disabled.
Mm-hmm.
I just, long story short, I wanted to be back to work. The money's better.
Mm-hmm.
However, that scared me because we were faced with, with the kids and the wife, what are we going to do? So, with that all said, I stayed away from the chiropractors.
Mm-hmm.
Although natural healing is better, but didn't fix me. So that's where my concern lies. That was 2013.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, I guess it just kind of nags on my back that they can say, "Hey, you're done. You're kicked off." So yeah, that worries me for us. But I know what I live with. And long story short, with that big, I have just one last question, but I'll let you elaborate on what you think about that.
Well, yeah, real quick, were you on a Ticket to Work program or no?
No ticket to work.
That's tough. Yeah.
I got hurt and wasn't able to go. I tried going back to work, and the boss was like, "George, you're not going to be able to make it, man." And then that's when I realized that my life had completely changed, although I didn't want to give up. And I had got into a workman's comp situation. Long story short, my counselor was like, "George, you need to apply for disability." And I did. 8-9 months later, they approved it. And I didn't understand that, well, hey, although you're not seeing a medical doctor, that doesn't work. I didn't know that. But I was, working with the fact that, we can fix you. We can get you back to work. And that's all I wanted. So, I went through that. And then the CDR came up approximately 3 years later. And they're like, no, they sent me to their doctor, and no, we don't find that you're, still disabled. And I knew how I felt, but I was dumb to what was going on. And I went back to my doctor, and he's like, "I told you, stay away from these chiropractors. That's not good." So anyway, long story short, he filled out the residual RFC form, and 2 or 3 months later, and hey, we find you're still disabled. So I know that I don't know how this works, but long story short, I'm concerned that could just come against us again, and considering everything going on and the backlogs with Social Security, yada yada. So was just trying to get a better idea about that there, Walter.
So here's the thing. You should have gone onto a ticket to work program where you could keep for 5 years essentially your benefits and also whatever you earned at your job. That would have been the better avenue for you. And then at that point, if you became unable to go ahead and do continuous work, like if you became more disabled or more severely incapacitated, you could always work out another deal with the SSA. What's tough with this situation is they tend to put people through CDRs at the worst time in their life when things are not great. Sure, there's a lot of people who don't go to the doctor. They don't plan or prepare or try to make things come together. I get that. But at the end of the day, CDRs, okay, so Obama put in the 1 year and 3 year provision. We didn't have those realistically. I mean, we kind of did, but we didn't really have those, in use until Obama, President Obama.
And
then
Trump.
Yeah, and then Trump put in the 2 year provision. Yeah, and then Trump put in.
Go ahead, fella.
Oh yeah. So Trump put in the 2 year provision, and everybody lost their friggin' mind, which I thought was insanity because Obama put in the 1 year and the 3 year, and Trump just put in the middle one, the 2 years. It was like an administrative function. It wasn't like, like how could he do this? They could have just done 1 year and then 1 year and then 1 year and then 1 year. They could have just made 2 years out of the 1 year provision, but they lost their mind because it was, who, somebody I try not to say their name on this platform, even though I just did.
You're fine.
Yeah.
You're fine.
So the bottom line is that as a result of that, I mean, you can have a CDR every 1 year, every 2 years, every 3 years, etc. But remember, this is balanced against the SSA's ability to pay administrative staff to actually do a short form or long form CDR. The SSA is overwhelmed. The field office is extremely overwhelmed. And as a result of that, a lot of people are getting short forms because they need to just process through these so that they can keep within statute and keep doing what they're supposed to do. But I would not be surprised if President Biden, who even promoted against this idea, I remember reading from his pre-White House website that he didn't want people having CDRs as often as they did. But seeing how not everything has gone to plan with his original plan, I would not be surprised, if he put in essentially, that more and more people were doing 1, 2, 3 year CDRs than ever before. I would not even be surprised if he made it mandatory that every person has a CDR every year. Remember 5 years ago, everybody got a CDR, it's like rarely every 3 years, usually 7 or 10 years. You go back 10, 15 years, it was like every 10 years, every 20 years, stuff like that. But I do feel that the United States government is going more and more towards a yearly checkup to see if you are still severely impaired. And I do feel that at some point they will remove the standards, the only protection that people have with this, which is the basically the medical improvement standard, which is that so long as you haven't improved, you'll remain on disability benefits. I don't think they'll keep that. I think in the future they'll get rid of that, and then everybody will just have to meet the new standards as they come out, which means that they will be kicking a lot of people off of disability benefits.
So, just a quick bit of history. 47, next year, 48 years old.
Sure.
Last review was in 2012. Mm-hmm. If I'm understanding you correctly, unless you have something to add to that, call the local field office, and I should be able to get, without being ridiculed, or is it that way, an idea of when the next CDR would be?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Any one of the people at the local FO will be able to answer that. That's right in their system. They go right to it. There's you can order and request from them a particular form that will tell you on it when your next CDR is, but you don't need that. Just call them and ask them. Like I used to tell people, you want this form, and this form's going to say, blah, blah, blah. You don't need that. Just call them and ask them. They'll tell you exactly when you're set up for another CDR. And then remember, you're probably going to have to go to their doctor as a result of that CDR. They like to send you to their, in my opinion, highly biased physicians who usually almost, 80% to 90% only do SSA or SSA and VA or SSA and workers' comp. They're doctors that are pro the big organization. And I've always hated that, but there's nothing you can do about it because, we got pro-claimant doctors, we got pro-SSA doctors. If the SSA doesn't like what the doctor's producing, then what's going to happen. They'll find another doctor.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure that this makes a difference, but this is a SSDI. The only other question I would have is, I've seen a few comments there tonight on your live that what happens in the event that I continue on SSDI and then I become a Social Security age? Will the benefits change as far as what I'm currently drawing?
Maybe. Look, so here's the thing. They probably won't. It's very unlikely. So here's what usually happens. If you're on SSDI benefits, you ride that to full retirement. So you have early retirement, 62, okay. Full retirement, 66, 67, and then you have max retirement, which is 70. At 66, 67, your SSDI benefits will transfer into and become your retirement benefits. You'll just naturally transition over to them. So it shouldn't really, change a whole bunch. I've seen it where it has just a little bit, but I don't know the details of your claim. So I always stay away from definitives when it comes to the financial amount, because there might be something unique with your claim where they might go up a little bit. But remember this, SSDI benefits are like your maximum of what you should get to be able to receive your SSDI benefits. And then full retirement is without being penalized from taking from 62 to 66, 67, your full amount of disability or your full amount of retirement benefits. So the idea is that they're supposed to be somewhat similar consistently with the transition, and they're not supposed to be changing much, if any. But usually people just transition and they just call it a different thing.
Okay, so we hope it's there then, right, feller?
Well, yeah, your retirement should be at full amount until essentially 2033. Although due to the metrics, the accounting, the actuarial work of Steve Goss and what he's been able to discover, really great guy, not a political type at all. So what he has found is that just based on the 2020 analytics, that essentially, not considering 2021, it will go down. The amount of money in the trust fund will run out in 2033. And then that'll probably be reduced even more to like 2032, 2031, when essentially 2021 metrics come out, 2022 metrics come out, which means that you will receive, I think it was like in the 70s, 70% of your benefits if they don't change the legislation and find more funding for retirement by essentially 2033, which will probably become 2031, which is around the corner. I mean, we're 2001.
Oh, yeah.
10 years from now is probably when we're going to be seeing that. So if they don't start legislating now, they're not going to have enough time to fix this thing.
Not going to say what you want to hear, or no, actually, I'm going to say what you probably already know. I think there's some real concern about the troubles on the way. But without going into that, thank you for your service. I watch your shows, your videos a lot on YouTube. I think you're a good man, and I appreciate what you're trying to do as far as stuff. You're a good man. Thank you.
Thank you, good sir. And also, I would point out, and I just want to be, sometimes when you switch over to retirement, your benefits do go up a little bit. But I don't want to put you in a position where, because it's about a reduction, removal. But the point is, just expect life to be at where it's at right now, or a little bit lower or a little bit more, and you should be perfect from there.
All right. Walter, thank you, man. Have a good evening. Take care of them dogs.
Absolutely, good sir. Have a wonderful night.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. So I missed a few phone calls there. Let me see. Julie Thomas, I'm currently working 3 SS issues, and with your help, I'm hopeful and will gladly pass the junk. Oh, yeah, you don't have to send me any funds. I really appreciate it, though, because here's the deal. The law firm made a nice chunk in 2019. I mean, a nice chunk for me is very different than most people. And most people think of like lawyers. They think of like, oh, I made $1 million. I didn't make anywhere close to $1 million. I didn't make anywhere close to $500,000. Not even close. Okay, so God. If I did, I wouldn't have student loans like I do. I even see my vein in my forehead coming out because I'm just like, I'm kind of embarrassed, but then I'm not. Like when you do good work, you're happy with whatever you get. It is what it is. So 2019 was a big year for me. Like I've never seen that much money. 2020, we lost $100,000 on that. 2021, we're expected to lose $50,000 on that. 2022, we're expected to increase by $100,000 and then slowly regain our, what we were earning before. But we're now rocketing up. We get, anywhere from 2 to 6 new clients where we're sending out initials or whatever every day now. So it's rocketing. It's not the same system we used to have. We used to be a firm where I would literally travel to 9 different locations throughout the week and work with the homeless. And that was all I did. I would just work with the homeless over and over and over again. But then when I couldn't meet with the homeless because COVID hit, and I didn't know what to expect. Like when COVID hit, like everybody was dying from it. It was terrible. My goodness. There was a lot of hype. There was a lot of hype in there. But then I didn't believe it. And then pastors that I knew passed away. And then I went through this emotional, like, how serious is this? Then I went back to one facility because my homeless needed me. So I now go to one facility and quasi another facility right now, and we're slowly adding more offices that I'm going back to. I can't get sick to the point where I can't do hearings though. Because if you lose me, like people are losing the attorney that sits next to them, or at least on the phone right now, telephonic, for lots of hearings for that week or 2 weeks. I don't, however long it would take for me to get healthy again. All right, so is SSI going to be getting a raise? Crazy Frenchman 205. It'll only be getting a raise if Nancy Pelosi pushes and Biden agrees to go with it. And at that point, they'll probably be using the SSI Restoration Act as their main system, their main elemental produce to go ahead and push forward, which will get everybody essentially $1,073 per month. They may remove portions from that, which would make me very sad. The number one thing they need to get rid of is not the amount that they pay out. It is actually the in-kind support and maintenance rule. They just need to get rid of that. That would be the best thing that could happen for people on SSI. Then the next thing would be the increase to $1,073, which is 100% the poverty rate. All right. Let's see. What else? Garden, I will catch you later. Sleep well. Thank you for showing up. I really appreciate it. Garden has been with me from way, way back, guys. He was with me when I only had 300 subscribers. So I really appreciate you showing up tonight. I really, really do appreciate that. Okay, widow's benefits, SSDI. What do you want to know? Like, just give me some. Well, actually, wait, I'm going to take one more phone call and then we'll do a couple of these written things. No, so the point of the SSI Restoration Act was to go ahead and build it. Quaalude Charlie, awesome name. That's just an awesome name. That's awesome. Quaalude Charlie, Mr. Quaalude. Quaalude Charlie III. What I'd like to point out is that they wanted to build a system that was not trying to take away auxiliary benefits that you receive, including food stamps or allowances that you could have other income coming in, or allowances where you could have non-countable income coming in, stuff like that, non-countable benefits coming in. They didn't make it so that you're going to lose your Medicaid. No, and everybody's afraid of that. If they raise my SSI, I'm going to lose everything. That's not the intent of the SSI Restoration Act. The intent is to raise everybody up in the amount that they receive, get rid of the in-kind support maintenance rule, have everybody having more options for earning more money, have everybody having more options for earning more benefits and things like that, being able to store more money up to $10,000, $20,000 for a couple. It's not going to remove these other functions if they pass it in total. But you know how these politicians are. Well, we'll pass a little here, we'll pass a little there, and we'll wipe these other ones out. You know how they play it. You get a little here, you get a little there, and then the increase in cost in this wipes it out. You know how this goes. Okay, so let's see. SSDI benefit. Wait, now let me just make sure I've called back people on the phone, because I do get to the point where people get cranky throughout the week if I don't call them back. Let me see if I missed any phone calls real quick. I did. So here's the thing, guys. If you want to call me back, just call me back. I'm going to put the phone number in there real quick. I'm going to do one more phone call, and then we'll kind of go from there. Because remember, I got to do a bunch of stuff tonight. I got to review a bunch of initials, and I got to mail them all out. Okay. So if you guys want to call, if not, give me like a couple of quick questions, and then we'll go into them. so that you guys have an understanding as to what happens. Let's see. I think we had a question about widows benefits. So I think we can kind of go into that. Let me go ahead and bring up some basic stuff on that so I can give you kind of a structure to it. All right, here we go. Let's see what we got here. Give you guys kind of a basic functional aspect of it. All right, so widows benefits are a form of kind of like, a survivor's benefit. That means, you're essentially, you're the leftover of whatever the unit was. I'm going to read it straight from the SSA here.gov publish EN-05-1008.pdf. Your widow or widower may be able to get full. Remember, this is men and women. A lot of people are like, oh, widow is just a woman. Men and women. Your widow or widower may be able to get full benefits at full retirement age. The full retirement age for survivors is age 66 for people born in 1945 to 1956. So remember, essentially, full retirement age could either be when you're 66 or 67. Let's read these elements again, because as I read this, I know a lot of people aren't used to legal elements and splitting it up. Your widow benefits you may be able to get full benefits at full retirement age, meaning you may be able to tap into full benefits through your passed away spouse when you reach full retirement age. And then, of course, I'm just going to throw in there, if you're disabled at 50, you can also tap them. The full retirement age for survivors, that's you, the one that survived in the relationship, is age 66 for people born in 1945 to 1956. So people who are basically in my parents' age are essentially, those individuals who are getting their retirement in the 66 age group. And the full retirement age will gradually increase to age 67 for people born in 1962 or later. So essentially, if you're born in 1962, you're looking at 67 in a month, 67 in 2 months, 67 in 3 months, etc. Your widow or widower can get reduced benefits as early as age 60. Okay, so let me break this down. We've now discovered, right? If you're disabled, you can take at 50, you can take as early as 60, or you can take full, essentially at 66 or 67 when you've reached your, retirement, your full retirement. Remember, you got taking early retirement 62, full retirement 66, 67, and then you got max retirement 70. If your surviving spouse is disabled, benefits can begin. So if the surviving spouse, if your spouse, what they're saying there is if you are the surviving person disabled, you can take as early as 50. Okay. Your widow or widower can get benefits at any age. So you can get benefits at any age if they take care of your child younger than age 16 or disabled who's receiving Social Security benefits. Okay. So that's a cool little caveat. It has to do with the younger child. Or your unmarried children. This is your kid benefits that we were just talking about that are survivors. Younger than age 18 or up to age 19 if they're attending elementary or secondary school full time. Okay, here's the rest of the rule. I was going to say it's missing an age group there. So basically, let's go through that again. Your unmarried children younger than age 18 or up to age 19 if they're attending elementary or secondary school full time. All right, so the limit is 18, but if they're still in school to 19, they can still take. Your children can get benefits at any age if they were disabled before age 22. Okay, those are called disabled adult child benefits. When they're younger than 18, they're called AUX benefits. That's not in this, so I'm just telling you this. When they're younger than 18, that's called AUX benefits, usually up to 16-ish. And then when they're 18 to 22, that's called DAC benefits, disabled adult child benefits. And that's from 18 to 22. Under certain circumstances, we can also pay benefits to your stepchildren, grandchildren, step-grandchildren, or adopted children. Okay, so I want to go through this real quick. A lot of people, wow, Leanne, wow, thank you. Wow, Mike B, wow, I got a bunch of donations. Thank you. Guys, I want to point out real quick, Leanne has been with us since there were dinosaurs on the background, or a Prius, literally from the beginning of time. She was with us when we had even less than 300 subscribers, when we were itty bitty channel. And I just want to point out real quick how incredibly important and amazing it is to see Leanne still staying with us and donating for the puppies. The puppies are, Shadow's on the couch. He's not even with me right now. Shadow's on the couch asleep. What I did was I bought burger meat, and I basically gave them a bunch of burgers. But, I cook them to get a lot of the fat out, and I make sure that there's no garlic or any of that extra stuff in it. And I gave them a bunch of food so that we could do this, because Sweetie has started to learn. Sweetie's the big chubby dog, the one that looks like she's made out of cookie dough. She's the fat girl at camp, and I love her. Give her so many kisses. But here's the thing. She has learned to put her paw on the pole that holds this up and to shake it, because she knows if she does that, I have to turn around and get on her, and then she gets attention from Daddy. So with that said, Mike B, 10, thank you so much. I really, 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 really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. That's just amazing. GXY, thank you very much. You know me, man. I love Baconators. I love the vanilla ice cream, the Frosties from essentially. Yeah, you know my whole thing. You like know what my diet is. Baconators, vanilla ice cream in the form of basically Frosties, which is extra creamy vanilla. That's all that is. If you're ever wondering, you're at the grocery store, it's just extra creamy vanilla ice cream. Sometimes, if you want to get fancy, you get extra creamy French vanilla ice cream, if you can find that. Arizona Teas, I love them. They made a strawberry and a peach. Actually, it was the peach. It was the peach. It was like a golfer's, what was his name? Arnold Palmer. It was a peach Arnold Palmer half and half tea by Arizona. And just like every company out there, when they make something that's friggin' brilliant, the best product they've ever made, kind of like Taco Bell, they will instantly get rid of it the moment you've become hooked on it. They will literally, like a bad drug dealer, take it away from you, and you'll be sitting there being like, what the, I need it. And that's what happened to me with my Arizona drinks. I absolutely love those. They will not make them anymore. Half blueberry filled goodness. Yes. All right. I can't drink a lot of alcohol because for some reason my body sucks. It just sucks. I can't smoke cigars. I can't smoke cigarettes. I can't smoke hookahs. There's something wrong with my lungs. I start coughing horrifically. There's just something wrong with me that makes me late. And as a result of that, I also can't drink a lot of alcohol. I get a horrible stomach ache. My face turns beet red and I look like I'm dying, but I'm just actually drinking alcohol. So dates are then difficult in that regard, but it's fine. So the point is, what I do is when I go to Maine, I'm having a beer. That's my one place that I go to like chill. They have great ice cream. They have amazing beer. So what I get in Maine is a blueberry beer, half filled with Maine blueberries. Not these schleppy blueberries that you get everywhere else. Maine blueberries. They're small. They're amazing. If you ever get a chance to try them, trust me. So good, sir. GXY, thank you so much. Mike B, thank you so much. Leanne, I really appreciate it. We're gonna call. Hold on. I just missed it. Hold on. By the way, we now, just so you guys know, have a working, it's almost fully working, a working voicemail system. For an entire week, our voicemail system was screwed up, and they had custom coded with Ring Central to get it to work. So we're finally says, hi, this is Attorney Walter Knott, and then makes you wait with music and everything, and then you get the thing. But we're getting there. We're almost there. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Knott. We are live on YouTube. Remember to use a fake name throughout this process. Also, would you like me to go ahead and answer a specific question, or would you like me to go ahead and, did I push the wrong button? Hold on. Let me go ahead and try this again. Hold on, guys. Here we go. Let me call this person again. All right, let's see if I can get through. The phone system is almost perfect. We're getting there. Hold on 1 second. Once he answers, we should be good to go. Let me see if it's ringing. I'm getting another call right now. Let's see if this one works. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Knott. Can you hear me? I feel text messages. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Knott. Can you hear me? You know what's amazing? I pay a lot for my phone systems. My phone system is like $1,200 with the fax system every year. And I just unfortunately can't seem to get one that works. Unfortunately, it's not that I don't try. It's just they fail left and right. Today, the email system went down. If you're wondering what I spent an hour on today, it was the email system. Let me go ahead and see if I can get this person back. We'll do one more phone call and then be like, essentially at that point, we'll pop off because I got to go do these other things. Let's see if I can get through this person. Hold on, let me see. And if this person's calling, I have you on speakerphone, so make sure you use a fake name throughout this process. Let's see. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Knott. We are live on YouTube. Remember to use a fake name throughout this process. Would you like me to answer a specific question, or would you like me to go ahead and, I don't know what's going on. I guess people are trying to call me, but it's not working. Let me try one more time. If it doesn't work, then I'll try and answer one more question on the thing, and then we should be good to go. Perfect. Here we go. I'm now dialing the phone number. I'm going to put it on. Oh, here we go. End, accept, and speaker on. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Knott. Can you hear me? Hello, hello. Hello, hello. Let me see if I take it off speakerphone. The program has failed. It's stuck. Network unstable. Ooh, look at that. That's what we're dealing with there. Network unstable. Good sir, can you hear me? Oh, madame, howdy. Oh, sorry about that. Sorry for calling you good sir. What I'm going to do is put you on speaker. Remember to use a fake name throughout this process. My name is Attorney Walter Knott. Would you like me to answer a specific question, or would you like me to go ahead and run hearing questions with you?
Yes. I'm gonna go by Kay. And my question is, my husband was on workers' comp and then claimed out on it because of some other issues, and he was put on to full disability immediately because of how bad his injuries were.
Okay.
I lost because they said, yeah, because I live in Pennsylvania,
okay,
that he makes over the $1,100. I lost my disability that I've had for 30 years,
Ugh.
my SSI.
Yeah.
Is there a means, because my son, I heard that the age 22 and under, unmarried disabled child. I do have a disabled child that had become disabled under the age 22. He can claim on my husband, but yet I can't. And now our income has gone down from being a very high amount that he used to make because of the work that he did, and now we're down to just under $1,400, and I've lost my income based off of his income, and now it's under 1/3 the amount. Is anything going to change in regards to that, or is there anything else I can do? Because even though my caseworker said I'm still fully disabled, and we get the assistant medical card at this point in time.
Sure.
Which we've had the whole time, but my husband is not. They said he is not going to get better. Period. They flat out, all the doctors have said he's not getting better. He's got a condition that's going to just be chronic, and it's going to get worse as time goes on. But they're telling me I have to wait until I'm 62 now to be able to even be eligible for benefits under him, but yet my child can get it.
Well, you got a couple of options here. Yeah, I mean, if your child's still around that 18 to 22, you could always file the child for DAC benefits, not just the SSI benefits that the child's likely receiving right now. And then he could tap into essentially the father's retirement option. For your SSI benefits, you were saying that he's now earning around per month $1,400 per month, correct?
Right.
Yeah, so if you multiply that by 12, that's only $16,800, which is below basically what SSI, requires to kill benefits. So I'm guessing he's earning a lot less than he did over the past 6 months, right? He's a lot less now.
Oh yeah, he's
Okay.
less than a third the amount that he was making.
Okay, cool. So this is what I would say. Here's the bottom line. You call up the SSA and request for a reassessment of deeming for your Title 16 SSI benefits, a reassessment for deeming. So reassessment for deeming for your Title 16 SSI benefits. And they will then relook at your husband's earnings. They'll see that obviously they've dropped. And as a result of that, you'll then be able to tap into SSI benefits again, because he's no longer earning over the, I'm assuming that all your children are over 22 at this point, correct?
Oh yes, my oldest one that's disabled is 33. Because I'm 53 and my husband's 55.
So the issue with the child that's in his 30s, the judge is going to want to know why you didn't file the child for DAC benefits back in the day. If you get a liberal judge, you might be able to, wiggle it through. If you get most judges, they won't allow it. They'll just say, no, he's got to stay on SSI. With that said, you will be able to contact the SSA, and so long as you meet the severity requirements. Now, here's the crap part about this that you probably didn't think about, and most people wouldn't, and that's a fair thing. You are now going to be adjudicated under the new medical standards, the new more difficult mental standards, the new more difficult musculoskeletal standards, the new more difficult evidence standards, the new more difficult SGA standards. You are now going to essentially be adjudicated under those new standards and not protected by basically the medical improvement standard that you had back in the day from 30 years ago, which means that it's going to be a lot harder for you to get on disability benefits going forward. So I just want to point out real quick, and I think this is important, when you file for disability benefits for your SSI now, you're going to find it's a much more difficult process to be found disabled. You're also going to be finding that essentially, they're going to be watching you guys like a hawk. A lot of people would say just get a divorce. People aren't going to get a divorce when they've been married all those years. But the bottom line is your husband's earnings are now under the deeming requirements to essentially remove your ability to have SSI. So you should be able to have SSI benefits now. Oh, are you there? I don't know what happened. The phone is ringing at me. I don't know what's going on. Guys, I pay a lot of money for my phone system. I have no idea how to work. There we go. Are you back?
Yeah, I got you back.
Oh, good. Where did I lose you?
I got it. I listened to it when it went down, and everything. I listened to it really quick, and then you got me back.
Okay, cool. So bottom line is call the local field office, ask them to do a redeeming of your Title 16 SSI benefits, and then apply for SSI benefits again. Now, wait, how long ago did they remove your benefits?
Not quite 9-10 months ago.
You might be. Did you appeal? You must have appealed, right?
Yeah, I did, and they're trying to take about almost $10,000 from me.
Yeah, do an overpayment gig. Do a 561 3441, a 632 form, and also ask for them for a deeming. I mean, they're going to hit you with some overpayment because of your husband's earnings. But the bottom line is try to get it reduced and do a redeeming review, and they'll find that your husband earns a small amount enough now that you should be able to get SSI without issue.
Okay.
And you want to win this claim because you're still under the medical improvement standard, and you got a technical denial for financial purposes, not a medical denial. And that's because if you were found disabled 30 years ago, you had to hardly have anything wrong with you back then. You could easily get onto disability without issue. It was super easy.
Yes.
And nowadays,
well, it took me 10 times to fight it, and then the judge, I had an attorney that was really good, and they said, yes, this is bad, what you've got, and it's chronic, and it's going to go on, and it's going to be worse. And my doctor said it's gotten worse. It's gotten bad enough that I've actually got a service dog.
Good. I'm pleased to hear that because you gave a doggy a job, and doggies love jobs. So
exactly.
Yeah, indeed.
He's very helpful.
Excellent. Well, any additional questions I can help you out with?
No. I'll go back and make sure that I watch this video again to make sure I get all the information because I've been making notes as I've been listening.
Sure.
But I'm going to go back and watch it again to make sure I have everything.
Just so you know, the deeming analysis for SSI is done under Element 1. Go learn about deeming for SSI, specifically Element 1 of the 5-step sequential process. And as they potentially will, they'll put you through a CDR as well, probably because it's good timing. And what will happen is that CDR will use an 8-step sequential process in which the financial review will be at a different element. So go learn about the 5-step Element 1 deeming and the 8-step sequential process and where they do deeming at that point.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay, that's a lot, but I will be taking notes and getting all and going through that and talking and trying to get this thing reviewed again because I mean this has been a big blow to us. I mean with my husband with COVID and everything else going on and all that there, it nailed my husband because he got hurt in 2019 at the end of the year.
Yeah.
And it took him until April before he got his surgery.
Wow.
And they said he's never gonna get better.
Wow. Yeah. That's tough. That's very tough. So, yeah. Well, Madame, I will catch you a little bit later. You have a wonderful, wonderful night.
You have a blessed evening and give all those puppies hugs.
Will do. Will do. I think I just got, yeah, I see Shadow. All of a sudden, my big computer just turned off, which means he laid his head on the AC little like plug-in area. So he always does this to me. I'll be in the middle of something. Invariably, he'll lay down because, behind the computer, it's warm. And he loves to be like a little hot puppy. So he's doing good. He's our tech support. He'll ruin any computer we've got. So, indeed.
Okay, well, thank you for this. I greatly appreciate it.
Absolutely, ma'am. Have a wonderful, blessed night, okay?
You too.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, guys. So what we're going to do is, I missed that one phone call from that guy I was trying to call, and it wasn't working. Let me just see if I can call him real quick. Let me just see if I can help him out real quick, because I don't want to be the guy that didn't help out the guy who called in, because it'll be like the most important call that we do. It's always how it is. It's like the last, kind of yada yada. Let's see if we can get this person through. If you're watching, good sir, don't use your full name, your real name. Use a fake name. So we're calling the person right now. Let's see if we can get through this person. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Knott. Remember to use a fake name throughout this process. Would you like me to answer a specific question, or would you like me to go ahead and run hearing questions with you?
So what about this Scissor Lee? They supposed to give $1,400.
Oh, so yeah, so here's the deal. I believe, and I have another video coming out with the top 15 reasons why, that Biden will essentially release another stimulus right at the beginning of December. And the main reasons for that is that, number one, Trump released a second stimulus basically in December. So just following the metrics of it, Trump has stimulus in March. He has stimulus in December. Biden has stimulus in March. He'll probably have a stimulus in December. Right before,
so we're gonna get it December.
I think early December. Yeah, because families that are unhappy, that can't buy toys for their kids, that can't afford food for their holidays, are going to be a pissed group of people going into the 2020 election season. And the 2020 elections are just as important as the 2024 elections, because Biden either keeps the House and the Senate, or he loses one of them. It takes one vote in the Senate to essentially change the entire dynamic of Congress, which means that Biden would become a lame duck if he lost a senator. So the 2022 elections are just as important as the 2024 election of the future president. So the bottom line is this. I think that, especially since California did those $600 kind of like, UBI-ish kind of payments, and then had success with keeping their governor as a result of them, in part, I think that the government's going to try and bribe people with another stimulus check in early December to keep them happy as they go through the holiday season into the 2022 election season for the House and Congress.
So we are going to get a raise, cost of living raise too, right? Yeah,
but that cost of living raise is not actually a raise. It just means you get a little bit more, but everything in your life is more expensive anyways. All right, look, Blind to Billionaire, LA Late, they keep selling to you guys this amazing 6-something% raise that's coming your way. Wow, what a big deal. It's not a big deal. It's actually a crap deal. They use the CPI-W index, which is an index that actually gives you less money per year in increase than it costs to buy food, pay for utilities, pay for rent, etc. They should be using the CPI-E index. But the bottom line is you're not getting a raise. You're getting a bump up in how much money you get, but it costs more to live in America than that raise is giving you. So you're actually losing money. Even though you get more money, it costs more for you to live on a daily basis, so you're actually losing money.
So we're going to get that $1,400 in December.
Maybe. Nobody knows. Nobody knows what the politicians have in store. Nancy Pelosi is likely going to be retiring at some point. She's going to want a cherry on top of the cake of her career. So it's likely that something's probably going to be done. But nobody knows. And let me assure you something. All these sugary, sweet, 300,000 plus subscriber channels, they promise you guys all this stuff. And then they never tell you the reality, which is that not only do they have no idea if it will pass, they have no idea when it would pass, they have no idea how it will pass, and they have no idea the amount that will be passed. So $1,400, maybe. That's just a figure because we had it before.
Oh, okay, then. So
Yeah.
I see what you're saying on this. I know. So
Yeah.
let me ask you one question.
Sure.
The senior citizen leave, leave. They're trying to prove for $1,400 to God. I think they're trying to do that. You know about the senior citizen?
No, I don't know about the increase in benefits that they're receiving. I'd have to go research it. I haven't been super up to date on all the new little things that are going out, but what we're seeing is a tailoring of benefits to be off for COVID situation, not an increase for most situations. So, but I can always go look it up.
You go ahead and look it up right now.
Okay.
Senior citizen.
Yeah, I can do it quick here. Senior citizen. What are you saying? What kind of benefit are they getting?
They're supposed to be $1,400. Getting all benefits. 14. I think they send it mail to them to the White House.
Let's see. I'm not seeing I see a seniors group calls for Congress to send $1,400 stimulus checks to Social Security recipients, but that's not. Yeah. That's so CNBC updated October 7th, 2021 at 2:45 p.m. Lori Kunish. But the problem is that that's like everybody else telling Congress to send another $1,400 check. There's no act, there's no law, there's no bill even in the committees right now to do that. So kind of the bottom line is they can say that, but until they say we will not vote for you in the 2022 midterm elections, until they say we have all of the retired people, we have all the disabled SSDI people, all the SSI people, and we're taking our votes elsewhere. Until they say that, you won't see movement on it.
It might vote on December. You think so?
I think it'll be around December. If I had to put a shiny nickel down, if I had to go to my bank and pull out a nickel, I would put it on December.
Yeah, December, yeah.
Yeah.
I think Biden said he's trying to go ahead and prove both stimulus checks and structure in the other. He was talking about that. You got to get that done.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
You heard about that then?
No, wait, say it again. I didn't hear that.
Biden said he got to get both bills done, 2 bills done. He wants them 2 bills bad.
The only way he'll get those passed is if Nancy and Schumer agree to finalize it and he gets all the Democrats to vote in a particular fashion. That's the only way he'll get these through. And to be honest with you, he's not even a big fan of the 3.5. He wants $2 trillion. So right now what we're seeing is a stalling tactic that will take us through October. That'll take us into November. November, we'll see things heating up. And then basically, I think early December, we'll see something. But remember.
Yeah, we might see something around by December.
Remember, Biden's more worried about right now increasing the debt ceiling of the United States and putting more burden on the American people to pay back debt just to fund the government, to pay all the senators and the House reps and their staff to keep paddling, upriver. So, he's more worried about paying himself and the other staff members of Congress than he is about paying the American people right now. That's the reality.
So he ain't gonna pay the American people right now.
We don't know. We don't know. Like, I know all these other channels are out there pushing that and shoving that into the news and saying, well, I don't know if a stimulus payment is going to pass. Nancy, you need to look at Schumer, you need to look at Biden. You need all of those people to be very happy with what all the other senators and House reps are doing. Because if you don't get enough House, you don't get enough Senate, you ain't going to make it happen. It's just not going to happen. It's going to be a bad, bad situation. So you need a lot of chess pieces.
Hey,
Yeah.
Then it's trying to shut the government down too. In October 18th.
Yeah. So if they should, but they're not going to. They reached an agreement to do, basically a passing, because they're going to keep the government open. They want to receive their monthly check. You know what I mean? The American people, hey, they got to figure their own life out. But trust me, the politicians, they want their monthly check.
Yeah. So now they gonna start to pass their stimulus check too.
Maybe.
They gonna pay it.
Maybe. I don't know. It's 9:54. I got to pop off because I got to go through a bunch of initials and keep rolling. I will catch.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no worries. I'll catch you a little bit later. Have a wonderful, wonderful night, okay? Are you there? I don't know what happened. I'm not sure what happened. It shows, now it's off. I guess she hung up. All right, so guys, I'll catch you a little bit later. Have an amazing upcoming weekend. Please be safe. Remember, things are going to start getting colder. Remember, the prices of heating oil, the prices of electricity are about to significantly increase. Please put funds aside for your energy needs. You don't want to be cold during the winter months. Please put funds aside specifically for cooking needs. Everything's going to go up in price, not only the food, but the electricity, all that stuff. Please start preparing for that aspect of things. I will catch you a little bit later. I really want you guys to be successful in everything you do. Have a wonderful, wonderful night. I do love Quaalude, Charlie's name, and his little smiley face. That's awesome. Leanne, thank you. Thank you for all the other people who donated. From the bottom of my heart, I really do appreciate it. GYX, you donated twice, which is incredible. Mike B, thank you so much. Leanne, thank you so much for being with us all these thousands of years. Julie Thomas, thank you. Guys, thank you so much for being part of this channel and the news that we spread. I'm hoping in the near future I'll also be releasing videos on how to write a bill, how to push a bill while it's in committees, what to do with the bill once it's passed. I'm hoping I can show you guys essentially how to create and push forward your own future, which is how to write legislation. I think I've got it down now to be so simple, so easy to follow. I think I've figured it out as to bullet point it to make it so that anybody could, understand it and use it. If I've released these videos and you guys say there's a better way to do this, let me know. I'll remake it. I'll catch you guys a little bit later. Have a wonderful night. Thank you so much. I'll catch you later. Thank you. Bye-bye.